used to playing a little bit slow and then turning it on, and they've taken care of business. But tonight, it just seemed like they were just flat. It seemed like they just couldn't respond to what Golden State was doing to them, not getting good shot opportunities, not connected defensively like they normally are. And so, yeah, it was a lackluster kind of a performance, particularly in the fourth quarter.
What if I would have come to you before the pregame show and said, hey, by the way, Allie, Steph Curry's only going to go 3 for 12.
I would have stopped you right there.
Steph Curry's going to only go 3 for 12 from 3. The Lakers will lead by 19 in the first quarter, but they're going to lose the game.
You know, I think that's what's
I'm
so
crazy?
kind of, yeah.
And the bench will play great.
Yeah, crazy. I think that's probably what's so mind-boggling, because after starting out the way they did and were able to manage that 19-point lead in the first, you would have thought things were going towards the Lakers' way for the night. But I think what you also learn is what we've continued to preach. It's what they know inside that locker room, is that they are the defending champs. And every single night, you are going to get your opponent's best shot. And also with that comes players who may outplay themselves. I mean, Kelly Oubre is averaging 11 points this season. We're talking about how he can't even throw it into the ocean. And he has 23.
23.
His season high. Pascal off the bench. Ties his season high with 19. I mean, guys are just playing out of their minds.
So Andrew Miller, our graphics producer, he's a Bay Area guy. He's a huge Warrior fan. We told him to build a fourth quarter collapse full screen, and he did. And I think he did it with a smile on his face, because it was a collapse, colossal collapse. The Warriors outscored the Lakers 34-21. Field goals were 14 of 23, 6 of 19. Lakers an embarrassing 1 for 9 from 3. But here's some other ones, James. They were up 9 with 5 minutes left in this game. They didn't score for over 4 minutes after that. They had 4 turnovers in the final few minutes. Warriors went on an 11-0 run. I mean, pick which one's the worst. I don't know. Lakers didn't deserve it.
All of the above, Geeter. And, you know, it's something when you're used to winning. Like I said, the Lakers defense has been, pretty good, and they're used to winning. And I think you have to be aware of that internal clock that says, okay, we'll be able to turn it on. But what happens is Golden State has an internal clock too, and they turned it on as well. They weren't going to be denied. And so they just couldn't turn it on. I think they turned it off somewhere when they had a 19-point lead and never was able to get back in the ball game. They couldn't just turn the switch on and get the defense going, layups. The bench players for Golden State out-hustled. There's things that we normally don't see. We saw in the fourth quarter in particular.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Warriors team, minus Clay, as we mentioned. Draymond's getting back. Steph's getting back. It's a young team. They outscored the Lakers 67-49. Here's the thing, Allie. The Lakers are not going to be perfect. Right. I know we want them to be every single night, but the Warriors played harder tonight.
Yeah.
67-49 in the second half.
Coming in, Steve Kerr made the point that they're just not in sync right now offensively. I think they turned the corner of it tonight, because I think at the end of the day, you mentioned how different the Warriors are to what we're so accustomed to seeing. But their system, their style of play, and who they are going to be and want to be about, because you still have that guy, that dominant force in Steph Curry running the show, they're still going to pass the ball. They're going to move that basketball offensively, and they're going to get after it on the defensive end of the floor. And when you put that all together and you continue to stick with that, good things will happen. And tonight, that's what happened for the Warriors.
Yeah, and Frank said it. He said it early in this game when he said it to the team and when he was interviewed. Like, you can't let this team hang around because of that guy. And sure, Steph was 2 for 11 at the time, but he hits the big 3 with a minute left to put them up 5. Kelly Oubre, they had an interesting conversation about him. Reggie was saying, listen, he, social media, fans around the NBA, he was supposed to be that guy to kind of fill the role when Clay tore his Achilles, and he has really had an up-and-down rough season. Well, tonight he came to play. 23 points, 9 of 18, James.
Well, they didn't take care of him early, and he sit in that corner and just got busy. That's where he was, down in that deep corner. And, like Allie said, he did it everywhere. And the way they moved the ball, they're going to make the defense give him something. And, he was just under control, attacking the Lakers defense. And, they just never met his energy. So a guy who's been cold and hadn't been going his way, you always have to be aware of him. And, Allie mentioned it early, too. They are the defending champions. they're going to get this every night.
Yeah.
Even from the worst teams in the league, they're going to come out and play hard. So that's another dimension that the Lakers have to get used to. They didn't have that last year. They weren't defending champions. This year they are. Every night's going to be a big night. And they had an opportunity to win this game. They just didn't close it out.
Surprised us tonight, James, though. MLK Day in the NBA. It's a big day. It's a national game. It's only on TNT. You're right after an unbelievable Brooklyn game with Harden and KD in Milwaukee. And they built up a 19-point lead coming off of, 6 straight wins, 5 straight wins. They looked so good. And then it just kind of, they took their foot off the gas, Allie.
Yeah, and when you do it against a team, as we've been talking about, who can really light it up, and once you knock down 1 and 2, it becomes contagious. It's tough. It's tough to just flip the switch against every team, as Geeter mentioned, but especially you don't want to do it, even if the Warriors are average right now, you don't want to do it against a team like them because they're too capable. And when they put you on your heels and then the shots aren't falling, the one thing when you look at the Lakers coming into tonight in that 5-game winning streak, the ball was moving on the offensive end of the floor, 26 assists on average, and tonight just 23. Shots weren't falling. And you know what happens when shots aren't falling? It becomes tougher on the defensive end, and it makes you you need to dig in even more so deeper, and you're doing it against a team that has caught fire.
Yeah, and the Lakers got such poor shots down the stretch. We were seeing those final 3 minutes. 26, Oubre 23, Pascal for 19, Dennis Schroeder with 25. Lakers lose. They are now 11-4 on the season. All 4 losses have come at Staples Center. Let's hear from Frank Vogel, speaking with Mike Trudell and the media on Zoom.
Hey, Frank, what did you think happened tonight?
We got outplayed in the second half. Simplest way to put it. We didn't defend at the rate that we've been the last few games, or that we did in the first half. They downsized with the second unit, gave us some problems. And then offensively, we got hesitant, tried to overpass a few different times, and we didn't have a great offensive fourth quarter to try to close things out.
Just that final sequence there after you get the rebound, what was your thinking? And sometimes, of course, you get a good shot if you go down and don't call the timeout, but how did that play evolve, and what were you seeing before you finally got one?
Yeah, we had a chance to attack in transition before their defense was set. We wanted to look at that. When it was clear that we weren't going to get a great look in transition, we called a timeout, and we got a decent look with Bron, coming up to gut.
Dave.
Frank, you were teed up for your reaction to Schroeder getting pushed to the ground, or taking contact and falling to the ground. And then there was that sequence where LeBron was called for a travel, and then Draymond scored in the lane, and some of the guys were calling for a travel. How much do you think the officiating affected tonight's outcome?
I don't have anything to say about the officiating.
Dan?
Frank, how did you feel about kind of just the overall late game organization? It seemed like you guys had a little of a hard time to kind of get in and out of stuff.
Really we got hesitant, and that's an area, it's an early game in the season, that you watch that, and it's an opportunity to learn from it. We like I said, we just got hesitant on the offensive end, a little casual. I'd say it's at certain points in the game, which you can't do with a lead against a team like that has great firepower. And their pressure was decent. I thought most offensive possessions we were organized, but like I said, we either hesitant or overpassed, and had a lot of lost possessions in the fourth.
Kyle.
Frank, obviously, you guys are on the winning streak. Your last 4 games have been blowouts. Do you feel like, perhaps you can maybe take a little complacency from that, and that might have contributed to what happened today?
No, I think if we came out sluggish, you could say that. I thought we came out with great energy, built up a big early lead. We just didn't sustain it. Just one of those lessons that we can learn from.
Last 2. Bill?
Kyle kind of asked my question, but I guess could you speak a little bit more about the lesson of complacency and taking your foot off the gas, and how can you apply that in a season when you are going to have a target on your back the rest of the way?
Well, yeah, it's a 48-minute game. Our guys understand that, and sometimes if you do it and you don't take a loss, you don't learn a lesson. So, hopefully our guys will learn that lesson from this game. It wasn't all complacency. I mean, you credit the Warriors. We didn't handle, what we felt were some bad calls. We let it distract our focus some, and like I said, offensively, look, we've been really passing the ball well and trusting the pass. And there was a few possessions we had great possessions where the guy didn't take the shot because he was thinking one more. So, those are good problems, and we'll go to the tape and correct it.
Jovan.
Hey, Frank, you mentioned that yesterday you guys spent a lot of time going over the intricacies of defending Steph. How did you feel you did in that regard tonight, and maybe breaking it down first half or second half?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll have to look at the tape. He's got the ball the whole game, so there was plenty of good defensive possessions, plenty where we had breakdowns, either sending them to the screen or protecting the rim when we took the ball out of his hands. But overall, we just didn't contain the ball like we're capable of. We turned the ball over too much offensively, which let them get out and transition some, and it just wasn't good enough tonight.
Are the Lakers leading the league in backdoor passes?
Yes.
Because I feel like they get several of these a game. And I like what I'm seeing from Anthony Davis facilitating at the top. He had the assist going tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he and Marcus all do a good job from the top of the key. If you move without the ball, a lot of backdoor action.
People are lucky bad cop Robert Horry is not here to do the Access 360 at Rob's Wall or Fish's Focus. We got big game James. Better not be anything good, James. You got to break down something the Lakers didn't do well tonight. You know that, right?
Their defense in the fourth quarter was really, not satisfactory. I mean, they didn't do what they usually do, only scoring 21 points and giving up 34. Take a look at Steph Curry. When he has the basketball, your weak side defense has to be ready. Right there, pick and roll, Draymond Green is going to roll to the bucket. Too easy, no confrontation. Here's another situation where Steph Curry creates this switch. This is exactly what he wants. As soon as he gets AD on him, drives in with 1 foot, steps back, knocks down the three, Geeter. I just thought their defense wasn't connected in the fourth quarter. I think they were just not in sync. They thought they could flip that switch, and they couldn't do it against Steph Curry because he got everybody involved, and they just weren't able to overcome that. It was a poor performance, being up 19 and then being up like they were in the fourth quarter to allow that to happen. I just thought they weren't communicating. The defense wasn't there. They expected it to happen because they've been on this run, and they'll learn from this. Can't take anything for granted.
That was the key to what Frank Vogel said, taking lessons out of this one, learning and moving on, because it's one thing they take a lot of pride in, is every single day getting better, not losing 2 in a row, and they've got a tall task ahead of them, but getting back to who they are in the defensive end of the floor is something that can change.
And look, they're good, okay?
Yeah.
And they're going to come up against some good teams. Milwaukee, we're going to see a good test, but 72 games, you're going to have 2 or 3 of these per year. I mean, I don't know what the situation was. Maybe it's a holiday. Maybe they just relaxed a little bit. Maybe they took Golden State's inexperienced players for granted, but they will learn from it. Getting back on track is the key to a game like this, and hopefully they'll be able to do it against a good team in East Coast.
All right, more to come on Access. Steph Curry with 26 points to lead the Dubs to the win at Staples. We'll have more post-game reaction ahead, but first, Anthony Davis with a message about the legacy of Martin Luther King.
I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality.
Without him, a lot of things would be a lot different in this world. And I think, we have to make sure that we always recognize, what he's done for us, and continue to push the needle and push the envelope on change, because that's what he would have wanted.
Because I have a dream, will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
So, what should we we do today?
Should we just go see a movie?
Yes. I'm always up for a good movie.
Go Rogue in the all-new Fiercely Reimagined Nissan Rogue. Get a low $229 per month lease on Rogue, or get 0% financing for up to 84 months on 13 models.
At BMW, we didn't make just one SAV, we made the ultimate range of SAVs. With unmatched power, luxury, and performance, the BMW X-Range is prepared for any road you travel. No matter who you are, no matter where you're going, no matter what's next, there's an X to take you there. Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
How we doing?
Fabulous.
I wonder how the firm's doing without its fearless leader. You sure you want to leave that all behind?
Yeah. Stay restless with the icon that does the same. The RX, crafted by Lexus.
Get 0.9% financing on the 2021 RX 350.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Find us at Target.
Carl's Cam moment of the game. Off the Dennis Schroeder miss, Anthony Davis, the rebound, the reverse putback dunk. Nice play. To be honest with you, though, the Carl's Cam moment of the game was probably Steph Curry's deep three for the Warriors, if we're going to be honest, Allie.
Have you ever given it to an opponent?
I don't know.
I like that one.
Yeah.
17 boards.
That's not the Carl's Cam moment of the game for me.
For AD?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it came in a loss.
Producer Ryan Trainer said maybe we have once or twice. I'm not sure. I'll have to go look in the 9-year record. We have a 9-year record going. We'll see what happens. James, you ready for a little 360 Anthony Davis assists?
Yeah. AD, he's a multi-talented player. Tonight he had 7 assists. Maybe he learned a little bit from Marc Gasol pulling the trigger, especially at the top of the key. We're going to take a look at a few of his assists in the game. Here's a situation where AD is out at the three-point at the top of the key. Now, he sees the confusion of the defense after LeBron sets this little brush screen. Schroeder recognizes it, backdoor. AD pulls the trigger. Nice assist there. Here he is in mid-post. And right here, he sees the defense coming at him. 2 defenders on him. He may have made eye contact with Kuz because Kuz makes the cut right down the middle. AD finds him. Another assist for a high percentage shot. Here's a zone. Golden State went to the zone. What do you want to do in the zone? You want to attack the middle. That's exactly what AD does. He gets right in the middle of the paint, knowing that Trez is low post. As soon as the defender comes up, without hesitation, he finds him down low. Like I said, he's a multi-talented player, recognizing when the defense is focusing on him, he has to get other people involved. 7 assists tonight. If he can keep that going, that's going to add to his, success at that position.
I think I just look at it from the evolution of his game in general, because it wasn't too long after Marc Gasol got here that he picked up on that right away. He said, I want to add that to my game. I want to emulate what he's doing out there from that position. And when you've got him, you've got LeBron, you've got willing passers like Alex Caruso and Dennis Schroeder at times on the floor. The IQ on that end of the floor can be dangerous.
You know what's crazy? LeBron and AD only combined for 36 points. Low for them. All right, let's get you to some highlights. We got James Harden and the Nets hosting the Bucks in a battle of the Eastern Conference powerhouses. Most think these are the two teams to beat in the East. Giannis back and forth early. Both teams playing well. Brooklyn up 9. Durant puts the moves on Middleton. Under 2 to play, tied at 119. Drew Holiday, Giannis is there for the follow-up. Greek Freak with 34. Harden can't hit the 3, but Durant. Nets up 2. Final chance from Milwaukee. Middleton can't get it to go. Harden and Durant combined for 64 points. Nets win a thriller, 125 to 123. Lakers will be playing the Bucks on Thursday night. Both these teams are probably the two teams that everyone thinks will be there at the end for the East, trying to get a shot at whoever comes out of the West. What do you like so far with James Harden on the Nets? We haven't seen Kyrie yet.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
That team's going to be tough.
It's going to be fun to watch. And, Steve Nash's biggest challenge is how does he make that work? I mean, you got 3 offensive powerhouses. How's the defense going to work? How are the role players going to fit in there? It's still yet to be seen, but what we have seen thus far without Irving,
they're
just Harden and KD alone, man, that's 60 to 70 points a game potentially. It's going to be nice to watch and challenging to defend. I'm glad I don't have to defend those guys right now.
I think the one thing we've all talked about along with that question, but we've all also talked about, is how elite of a scorer James Harden has been, that his assists, his ability to facilitate gets overlooked. And when you watch the Brooklyn Nets, these first 2 games with him in there, his willingness to give up the rock is there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, you're thinking about it, and of the 3 of them, he's the only one who has yet to win. And he's gotten to this point. He's got the scoring titles. He's got the MVP. One of the big reasons why it was said that he wanted out of Houston was to win. Yeah. So will he ultimately make that sacrifice that is needed? And right now, dishing the rock and being that guy is what he's playing up to.
Lakers went 1-1 against the Bucks last year, lost in Milwaukee, beat them right before lockdown in March at Staples Center. Drew Holiday, great addition for that Bucks team. Giannis, still, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. He has to become that guy that can have the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter. So we'll see. All right, more to come on Access. Dennis Schroeder got it going offensively. Team high 25 points, but it wasn't enough. Lakers lose their...
Taking a shot, playing amazing defense. But everybody chipped in, and we weathered the storm against an amazing championship caliber team. So it's a big win for us.
I think Steph hit it on the head right there. I mean, that's you got to give props to this Warriors team. They kept competing, and we all kept saying during the game, Allie, when we were all watching, they're playing hard. You got to like this young team. They're playing hard. But then they started creeping back. You just knew that the Warriors are that kind of a team that could take this game over, especially with a guy like Steph Curry.
And that's, you nailed it. When you got your foundation there, yes, they're without Klay Thompson, which is a big piece.
Huge.
But you still have Draymond Green. You still have Steph Curry. You still have Steve Kerr at the head of it all. And they're the dynasty of this age. And what they are putting into practice and trying to build until Klay comes back and continuing on is still what the Warriors have all been about. And that's competing and doing it on both ends of the floor.
When you've played enough sports or watched enough like we have, you sense things. And the bench was so into it for the Warriors. They were off the bench. They were going crazy on every play. And you could just tell, James, that they were not going to go out quietly.
I just give credit to Steve Kerr, because I could just hear him saying in practice, weeks ago, we're going to be without Klay. Look, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to keep our head in the game. It's a slow process. We're going to struggle a little bit. We just keep playing, and that's what they did. I mean, I thought Eric Pascal, I thought he dominated the game and really gave them a lift to let them know that, hey, this is possible. He's going to the cup with authority, physical. I just thought that the Lakers allowed them to hang around. If they had put their foot down when they were up 19, they could have taken care of this. But I think they're used to now. I don't think it's going to be permanent, but I think their recent success I think sometimes it sets in that you can take care of a team when you need to, especially if they're a little bit undermanned. Not against Steph Curry. He's a champion, and so is that organization.
All right, Kyle Kuzma with his second straight double-double, the third in the last 4 games. He's speaking with Brez in the media.
Hey, Kyle. You guys were up 17 early in that third quarter. What are some of the reasons that you saw for you guys losing the game tonight?
Sense of urgency. I think that's the biggest thing that really happened from a team perspective. Anytime having the lead going up 17-20, you kind of always, I wouldn't say always, but there's an area where you can, take your foot off the gas, and that's kind of what we did, and stop scoring and stop defending per section, and they got back in the game.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense. You guys came in as a top-rated defense in the entire league, but tonight, especially in that second half, he gave up, I believe it was 67 points, and guys like Eric Paschall kind of kept getting through the defense and scoring on layups. Did you kind of see the same thing too?
Yeah, I don't want to downgrade someone like him because he's a good player in this league, a young player, but they just had a lot of different opportunities to score. We just put our foot off the gas, missed some rotations, allowing people to get behind the defense and score, like you kind of just did. And, Steph hit a couple of shots. Oubre had a few layups. It happens. It's a long season. It's kind of hard to keep that sense of urgency of the team for 72 games, and we just let one slip. So.
And Kyle, last one from me. You guys have been really shooting well from three-point range. Didn't happen tonight for you guys. Was that kind of a talk in the locker room? Offense kind of fell apart, and the defense as well, as you've mentioned.
No, nobody's never really worried, honestly. I don't want to downplay losses, but everybody has the same spirit they've had all year. Does suck to lose, but it's not like we're dying in there.
Thank you.
Next up, it's a 7-game road trip for the Lake Show, starting with the Bucks on Thursday. Then on Saturday, they play the Bulls. And then LeBron returns to Cleveland to take on the Cavs on the 25th. Fourth game of the road trip, City of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, then Detroit. The final 2 games are not on that schedule. It is Boston and Atlanta. So a lot of tough games. 7 games in 12 days, James. So the Lakers will get tested, and you hate to leave and go out on that road trip with a bad taste in your mouth like tonight.
You remember the movie Cool Hand Luke, right? Mm-hmm. Got to get your mind right.
Got to get your mind right.
Before you go out on this road trip, because they dropped the bomb against Golden State, and they know they should have won. Kuz said it the best. You take your foot off the gas, you let your guard down, you kind of let your success, you take it for granted. Now they're going to be tested on the road. They've been successful on the road, but teams a little bit of experience. Oklahoma, Houston's going through their thing. Now they're going to Milwaukee. They got some teams. We're going to see where they are.
True story. When you and I were watching Cool Hand Luke, Allie was not born yet.
Watching what?
Thank you. Failure to communicate. 19-5-5 for LeBron.
What we have here is failure
to communicate.
To communicate. You'll watch it, Alex.
Yeah, I already threw it to LeBron. You guys can go.
Hey, LeBron, we haven't seen you guys get outscored in a fourth. What did you see as the breakdowns, and did they have anything to do with the way the game had evolved to that point?
I think we had some tough breaks, some tough calls against us in the second half that kind of slowed our pace down. And it just slowed everything down. We couldn't get back into a rhythm after the game was slowed down a little bit, and they did a great job of countering that. So something we can learn from, and it's always great to have games like that.
Yeah, what's the balance between frustration at a loss that you feel like you should have had, and then also kind of acknowledgement of the bigger picture for you?
Well, I mean, obviously you're frustrated anytime you lose, especially when you could have played better, and we know we could play much better. So you learn from all of that and apply it to the next game.
Bill?
Hey LeBron, you had a couple of travels in the fourth quarter, specifically that first one. I think after you just want to talk us through those then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen him on replays, and it's a move I've been making pretty much my whole career. And if that's the call that's going to be called travel, then I would like to see it across the whole board. Every game and it consistent like that. I mean, it's so funny because the very next play, Draymond gets into the lane and slides his foot, and it's not called. And the same official who called me for the travel is right there on the play and told me he didn't travel. So that's definitely, something that I got to be more, leery about. But I have not been called for travels like that in my career.
Kyle?
Hey, LeBron, as a team, I think you guys only had 4 fast break points and on that last possession before the timeout. It looked like you might have a transition opportunity. Do you guys feel like you were attacked enough in transition on offense tonight?
I think at times, including myself, we settled for the perimeter shot in transition instead of attacking to the rim. But, we've been pretty good at that all year. And, some games you're going to have, we would love to be in transition more, but you got to get stops, to be in transition. And in the fourth quarter, they did a good job of not allowing us to get too many stops.
Dave?
Kyle Kuzma said that it's a 72-game season, and maybe it's going to be hard to keep the urgency up. Is there some human nature complacency going on here that could have been part of the recipe tonight?
No.
Melissa? I'm sorry, Dan?
LeBron, you guys probably won't play very many games this season where you and AD combined to score, I think, 36 points or something like that offensively. Why was it so disjointed, do you think, for the two of you guys offensively tonight?
I mean, both of us was just a little bit out of rhythm, and I think, we're going to have games like that this year where we're out of rhythm. The best thing about our team is we had guys that picked us up. Dennis was great. Trez, again, coming off the bench was great. Kuz, got hot for us a little bit in that third, made some shots for us. So, in times where we both are just a little bit out of rhythm, we have the ability to have our teammates that picked us up and still give us a chance to win, which we had tonight.
Last 3, Melissa.
Hey, LeBron. We're approaching the 1-year anniversary of Kobe's death, and you obviously have done so much to honor him, including winning a title in his honor. I'm curious, when you think back to the events of that day, how do you process the emotions of it and just sort of the emotions of the year that followed afterwards?
Try not to take myself back to that position or that place or that time frame. Obviously, he's looking down on us, along with Gigi, and just proud of what we're trying to do here as an organization. And hopefully we continue to make him proud as well and make her proud to wear the purple and gold every night. So I don't want to live in the past. I definitely don't want to live out that day again. So, it's about always continue to move forward and continue to live on his legacy.
Last 2, Mark Medina.
Hey, LeBron, in 2-part here in lieu of Martin Luther King Day, you had shared in the bubble that you were reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. So I was wondering, is there a book about Martin Luther King or one of his speeches that really resonates with you? And what do you draw from how both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X brought about change on the
I've never read an autobiography of Martin Luther King. Obviously I grew up in school, you get taught a little bit about him, especially during Black History Month, things of that nature. But as I continue to grow and continue to come into myself, you just read a lot of his teachings, a lot of his speeches, a lot of his forecomings and things that he believed in and things that he preached that would be better for the change of America and change for the better people. So, when you just look at some of his most famous quotes and things that he was able to say to the people and believe in, it's things that we're going through right now. It's things that if we apply, then it will make our society a lot better. He was a man of the people, and he had a lot of power. And that's why he was ultimately gunned down, unfortunately, because of the power that he had for the people. People resonated with him. People believed in him. People wanted to walk with him and talk with him and be with him. You just live on. His legacy along with Malcolm X, continues to live on about what they preached and what they believed in.
Still to come on.